everybody. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I'm excited always to be with my friend, Dr. Darren Dubyak from Advanced Integrative Medical 360. I love the response when we put these videos up. I love seeing what you all write and what you say and the questions that you ask. I want you all to know that we see what you're asking, and it's because of that. And people who call in and say, I saw your video, I have a question about X, Y, or Z. And that's what spawned this idea today. Tell everybody about it.
Absolutely. So what we saw was, especially with Ali's video last week on blood pressure medications. Well, why did we do that video? There was such a great response. It's actually, we had over 50,000 people view her video on birth control.
It's amazing.
So what we saw was, wow, people really want this information. So yes, Wendy's right, guys. We are listening. We're looking at comments. We're looking at feedback of how we can help everyone. So
because they're not getting this at their doctor's office.
Sad to say, I don't believe so. I agree. They are not. And actually, I know they're not because they're coming into us asking these questions, saying, why isn't my doctor going over this
That's
stuff
what usually gets you fired up.
Pretty much, yeah, and that's how I get so animated and so excited. But yes, you're right. So, like you alluded to this, insulin in your weight. So why are we bringing this up today? Because it's something not routinely ordered. A lot of people have heard about insulin. A lot of people who have heard about insulin just think it's something diabetics give themselves.
That's basically my knowledge.
Exactly.
Literally, I didn't know you tested it or what it does.
Correct. So all those things, we're saying, well, wait a minute. Let's get back to the weight loss component. You know, right in my wheelhouse, right what I love to talk about. And I wanted to do a very nice, educated, quick video on insulin and your weight and how it affects your weight. So one of the number one things I tell people is, you know, Wendy, we constantly talk about it is testing, testing, testing. Have facts, have facts, have facts. Again, so many people coming to me, Dr. Dubyak, should I go on this diet? Should I do this diet? Should I take this supplement? Well, I know this movie star takes it. Oh, get the blood work done. So again, guys, that custom blood work that we do for $199 is so imperative. I mean, it's amazing to me how people still guess today on what to take and what to do. We don't guess in anything else. Have the facts. So in saying that, I see a lot of doctors ordering, you know, we'll say sugar levels on patients or where they should be, or glucose and A1C. And a lot of people know what their glucose is or what it isn't, and if they don't, we're going to go over it. So glucose is literally the sugar from the food you eat that the body uses for energy. So typically, when you get your blood work done, it's fasting, right? You hear this, and the reason why is because you really want to get a good reading of what your blood work
base level
looks. You got it. So fasting from 10 to 12 hours, that glucose is literally what you ate in that day before, the night before, things like that. Now, A1C, it's actually HA1C, meaning hemoglobin A1C. So sugars actually encapsulate your hemoglobin levels. Once they die, which is 60, 90 days, 100 days later, they shed that. Well, there's a way of really seeing an average of what your sugar is over 60 to 90 days, right? Okay, so the majority of doctors or majority of patients that I see coming in with blood work for sugar levels will at least get those too, but it's astounding to me that the insulin levels aren't checked. So insulin is a hormone. It's actually a hormone your pancreas releases.
Got it.
And what I tell people, just think, guys, is insulin being the limo driver with glucose in the back seat of transporting it where it needs to go. For energy, for storage, for something, right? So that's what insulin is. It's a limo driver, okay? The reason why it's so important, it's the major fat storing hormone of the body. So,
I'm seeing some dots possibly connecting. I don't know.
So if it's the main fat storage hormone in the body, and if it's either too much in the blood, you're going to store more fat. I mean, if it's too low, you're going to have other problems. So it's such a huge hormone to get tested. I don't know why it's overlooked. I don't know if some doctors don't think it's important enough. unless if you are a diabetic. But I order it on everyone. Alexandra does.
I will tell you, 51 years old, until I came to you, nobody had ever talked to me once before about insulin, never had it tested, never had a conversation about it, never.
Exactly.
That's why I look at this and I'm like, well, everything you're telling me is going to be more than I originally know. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of
agree.
people will feel the same way.
I agree, and I think that's why we're revisiting insulin, because it was asked a lot. It was a video that got a lot of great feedback on why is it causing weight? Because we're going to get into this word right here, insulin resistance, because
Right.
it's becoming a big word these past 10, 20 years. Now, importance of insulin. It tells your body to store or use sugar. It causes weight gain when excess glucose is being made. More or less is this. The more carbohydrates, the more sugar you take in, it comes down to this simple fact. The more insulin that needs to be made to drive around all that sugar, right?
Got it?
At the end of the day, I'm going to make this so easy. If you're eating so much sugar and that glucose has to be transported to so many things, at the end of the day, that limo driver says, I ain't working. I'm out of gas. Take the keys.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. And when you're on your own, that glucose gets stored as fat. Does that make sense? That's
100%.
literally how it works.
100%.
So then we talk about this word now, insulin resistance. So I literally wrote this out. I'm going to read it verbatim. It's when your cells, your muscles, your fat, and your liver cannot use glucose for energy anymore. But your pancreas still continually makes it because there's so much glucose again. And then what's glucose stored as? Fat. So how do you prevent insulin resistance? Number one, low carb diet. Wendy, the more, and even just preparing for this, I've even looked at even more research. Low carbohydrate diets still outperform a low fat diet. Hands down, drop the mic, end the story. It only makes sense.
Right.
Refined sugars, refined carbohydrates. Your body's making more glucose, more insulin's got to be made, and if you're not using it
Right.
for energy, your body's going to store it as fat. And listen, Wendy, especially these last year and a half or so, the more foods that we're eating, and we're now more sedentary, and you're not losing it, you're going to store it. And that's what we've been seeing, especially from a weight loss component.
Right.
Higher protein content, meaning this. So, Wendy, you first off need to know, because people will say, Dr. Dubyak, if I eat a lot of protein, my insulin doesn't go anywhere. No, that's actually incorrect. Even eating protein, your insulin will go up immediately, but those levels do come down, and they
Gotcha.
come down quicker, okay? Adequate sleep. So, again, sleep deprivation increases how your body uses or not uses sugar levels or glucose. So,
I didn't know that.
inadequate sleep, your body's going to store more fat.
When you're talking inadequate, how long?
So that's the question of the day.
This is a very selfish question.
All right, so I will tell you from the research journal that I got, it was 7 hours or less.
Fudgesicles.
Yes. And the amount of people that I've seen, especially, and we ask a lot of people about their sleep, because guys, especially with weight loss, and obviously now we see why adequate sleep is so useful for weight loss and stress. Our bodies just don't shut down appropriately.
Right.
We're all over the place. And again, more eating, more sugar production, so on and so forth. So this whole not eating before bed, but especially carbohydrates, because your body's main energy source while we sleep for energy is burning fat. So the last thing you want to do is tell your brain, oh, no, let's burn the carbs that he just ate.
Right.
The piece of pizza or the piece of bread that he just ate right before bed.
Pringles.
Or the Pringles. Or the snacks. But it makes sense.
Right.
And then especially regular exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Regular exercise, you're using that glucose levels for energy as should be used for, right? In the grand scheme of things, insulin is a very simple thing, I think, overall to really understand.
Yeah.
It's a weird hormone, meaning sometimes when levels are too low, it can cause issues, and sometimes when levels are too high, they call it hyperinsulinemia, will cause issues as well, right? Or AKA what we call insulin resistance. There's a fine line, but getting that blood
I was
work
going to
done
say
and-
when I say, and I say it on the radio every single day,
Yeah.
it's you've got to get the blood work because it's singularly unique to you. What Dr. Dubyak does for me as a patient is entirely different than what he'll do for you. And it's based on what he learns from your blood. And nobody's ordering it. It's the same blood work that the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic do.
Yeah.
But it's not done around here. Why? Why? It is an Advanced Integrative Medical 360.
And it's what we base every single person on, because we will never base anything that's not facts. And having blood work is part of your facts, it's part of your story, and it's part of your general makeup, and how it's still not ordered on every patient. Oh, my insurance doesn't cover it, and we've done videos on all this. Listen, the blood work's $199. Get it done. You make an appointment with us, get into the office, and start feeling better. It's that simple.
I think one of the most defeating things when you don't feel right, and we know when we don't feel right, is not having answers. You get answers. And that's the road to wellness and joy, I think. This is why I talk about Dr. Dubyak every day, because it works. So here's the number, 412-227-9255, 412-227-9255, integrativemedical360.com, and on their website, transparency, everything they do,
Right.
and what it can do for you. Make the appointment. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. I think you're great.
Thank you. I think you're good too.
See?
We'll keep you around.
Until next time, everybody, peace.
See you guys.